Hi, my name is James Shepard, and this morning I thought I would post a quick video on advanced statement analysis. I got a statement this morning from one of our sales agents that was a little bit complex, and so I just thought I would post the quick analysis form here on YouTube so you can take a look at it. So here's the first page of the analysis. It's a deposit summary. Now from this page we can really easily get the first couple parts of this, or so it would seem. Up here at the top it says our total sales, 30,711.35 and 428 transactions. So it would seem that we could put this over here in the total processing volume, and that we could put in the average ticket size by taking 30,000 divided by 428. However, on this particular statement, they actually combined the PIN-based debit with the standard check card transactions here. So it's a little bit of a more interesting statement. What you want to do is you want to come down here, go down a couple other pages, right here where we have the settlement discount report down here, and you have the description. Now, first of all, notice that up at the top, there's a big section here where the discount rate is 0. That is always an indication of PIN-based debit, all right, if there's no discount rate. Now, again, this is advanced statement analysis, so I'm assuming you guys already understand, how to look at some of these things. So there's, if there's a 0 discount rate and then you see other transactions below that have a discount rate, like if we go to the next page, we see it continuing on and we see that all of these do have a discount rate, okay? The other way that you can tell this information is over here to the right, where you have these right here, okay? You will begin to notice these different abbreviations mean PIN-based debit, where someone is entering their PIN number for the transaction, okay? Now, this is the part that gets kind of confusing. So what we have to do is, in order to figure out our volume and our number of transactions, we actually have to take all of this information here and subtract it from the information at the top for the total transactions and total volume, okay? So what we gotta do is we gotta go 24 plus 11 plus 124 plus 59 plus 9 plus 7, and we find out there's 234 debit transactions. Then we're gonna add up the volume, 1,556.73, 802.39, 7102.3, let's see here, 2812.49, 594.98, and 452.57. And we find out that there is $13,321.46 worth of PIN-based debit transaction volume. So now what we do is we go back up here to the top, okay? And as you can see on the quick analysis form, I actually did it incorrectly the first time because it is confusing when you start at the top here. But now we're going to fix it. So we're going to take that 13,321 in PIN base and we're going to subtract that from 30,711.35, and that gives us 17,389.90. So now we put that in the total volume here, 389.90. And again, where it says total processing volume, that's only for Visa, MasterCard, Discover processing volume, not for PIN-based debit, okay? Then we have our check card volume. Now, I already entered that in, and I'll show you how I got that. This is a little bit more basic, so I think most of you guys will already be able to get this. But if you go down here, you can see here in the discount rates that this one is on a variation of flat rate pricing, but it's actually like a 2 or 3 tier, you could call it, but it's really more of a flat rate pricing here. You have 1.71% for basically all the card types except for this one weird one over here for Discover. But you notice these little 1.31%. So whenever you see those lower amounts like that, that's going to be your debit transactions, meaning not your PIN-based debit, but those are going to be your check card transactions. You can also tell by looking over here at these abbreviations. When you see VD, that's Visa debit. When you see, MD, that's MasterCard debit. So that's another way to tell. And so I just added up all of those volume totals, and I got our number here of check card volume of $5,066. Now, as usual for the mid-qualified, non-qualified, for this one, it doesn't list any of that. So what I always do is pretty much the same thing. I'm going to take and assume that 20% is going to be mid-qualified, and that 10% is going to be non-qualified. That's the numbers I would use for this particular one. It's just, again, you basically just have to kind of guess. So what you do is you go here to your credit card volume that's remaining, which is $12,323.90. So just to recap, we had 30,000 in total volume. About 13,000 of that was actually PIN-based debit, which we took out. Then the remaining 17,000 was our total processing volume. Then of that, I added up all of the qualified check card transactions, which was $5,066. The quick analysis form subtracted that from the 17,000, leaving us $12,323.90 in total credit card transactions. Now we're going to take that times 20%, and that is going to give us a mid-qualified of $2,464.78, and a non-qualified, we're going to take the $12,323.90 times 10%, and that gives us $1,232.39. Now we got to figure out our average ticket, and in order to do that, we need to go back up here to the top. All right, and our total sales. Now remember, when we look at these, when we look at total sales on this statement here, that includes, that 428 there includes PIN-based debit, which we don't want to include here. So what we got to do is we got to remove, if you look on the transactions, PIN-based debit, if you remember, we had 234 PIN-based debit transactions. So we can take 428 minus 234. So we had 194 check card / credit card transactions that were actually swiped. And that gave us our total over here of $17,389. So now we can go $17,389.90 divided by 194. And that gives us our average ticket of $89.64. Okay? All right, so now if you go back up here, and by the way, we already got the batch total. That was right here, your deposit total. That's pretty basic stuff there. Now our total current fees. Now this is where it really got tricky. So I'm going to show you how to do this here. For our total fees, when we go down here, this is just a crazy one. I've never actually seen one quite like this before. What they actually did for this merchant, if you look down here at the bottom, so this is showing us all of our fees. We have the discount rate and then the fee amount right here, okay? So then right here you have the discount collected, okay? For whatever reason on this particular merchant, the discount collected was actually more than what was actually owed during the month for the daily discount. It's crazy how they do this. I've never seen somebody do this before, and it actually took me a second to figure it out. But I'm going to show you what it is. So when we go back up here to the very top, and we see up here the discount that was collected right here, okay? You can figure out what their daily discount is by just taking one of these numbers. Like we can take this number right here and say it's $18.35 divided by this number over here, $1,028.82, and we can see they have a discount rate there of 1.78%. So they're collecting like 1.78%, but the actual discount rate is 1.71%, or for check cards, it's only 1.31%. So this is a really unusual one. They did a daily discount, and every day they're taking out like 1.71%, but then at the end of the month, you know, the actual discount collected doesn't even need to be as much as it was. So what they did was they added up all the fees here in this fee section right here and the page above. They added up all these fees, and they got a total, and they looked at how much they had collected. Well, they already collected $629.66. That's how much they already charged the merchant. Then down here we have what's called the variance. Okay, right over here is called the variance. So they actually collected $251.90 more than what they should have for the daily discount. So here's how you figure the rest of the fees. This is where it gets confusing. We take $251.90. Then what happened was they took, that was like a positive balance. That was like a credit to their account. Then they come down here to the surcharge table, and the total surcharges was $292.88. So what we do is we take $251.90 minus $292.88, and that equals $40.98. So now at this point, now the merchant would actually owe another $40.98 because with the daily discount up here, they had this $251 credit. Down here, this fee was already an additional $292 for end of the month fees. Then if you go down here to the bottom, we have another little section right here of fees of $87.99. So we're going to add that on, $87.99. So when we add that on to the $40 we had a second ago, that gives us $128.97. That is how much they debited from the merchant's account. So in order for us to figure out what this merchant paid in total fees last month, we got to take that $128.97, okay, $128.97, and we have to add it to the $629.66 that they already debited from the account. Because again, what we're trying to figure out is what is the total amount of fees that this merchant paid. So we want to look at, the best way to do that is to look at how much money was actually debited from the merchant's account. Now another way that you can do this that's a little easier, you can actually look at their bank statement. Say, look, you know, your statement is, they have a very confusing way. Could you just look at your bank statement and just let me know what is the total fees that you paid last month? You know, what's the total amount that they deducted from your account? Okay, so that gave us a total of $758.63, which we put in here for total current monthly fees. Okay, now we have all of this information filled in. Now the last thing we're going to do is if we want to do an interchange plus analysis as well, then we would need to put in how much we're planning to mark up the account. So in this case, 40 basis points or 0.4%. Then we're going to go over here to our interchange plus conversion tab down here at the bottom. And our estimated interchange fees would be $230.95. So now we go back to the data, $230.95. Then also, the other thing we got to look at here is we also have a couple other things to look at. We have our PIN debit network acquirer fees. And let me just show you where those are at. When you go up to the surcharge table here, go down to the surcharge table. Here we go. You can see up here, this top section has, again, right here. Okay. Notice this: Excel, Star, Interlink, Interlink, Star, Maestro, Pulse. These are all your PIN-based debit. Again, you'll get to know these names. Will help you to be able to identify this stuff. But these are the surcharges, so you can put that in there. That's the surcharge table right there. Okay. So that gave us $132.63 there. Now what we can do is we can go to our tier analysis. We can see that on tier pricing, if we add in all these things here that we just put on that data tab, it automatically calculates all this for us and shows that we would save this merchant about $203.39 a month. We can also go to Interchange Plus analysis, and we can see we'd save them $192 a month on Interchange Plus. Again, my name is James Shepard. This has been an advanced statement analysis. If you have any questions or you want to chat about this, just put a comment below the video there, and I'd be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Thanks so much. Have a great day.